Okay, let's just dive right into it. Today, we're breaking down a story that perfectly, and I mean perfectly, captures the totally chaotic, super emotional, and honestly hilarious high school drama of three very different girls, Gargi, Nikita, and Zoya. We're going to explore their lives inside this incredibly strict all-girls convent school where just getting through the day requires some serious alliances. We'll see exactly how a deeply cynical new girl, an ambitious straight-A student, and a rebellious backbencher manage to form a bond that defies all the odds.
But to really get their friendship, you kind of have to understand the absolute pressure cooker they're trapped in. We immediately entered this tyrannical little world ruled by Sister Diane, who the students humorously but very accurately call Sister Dayan. It's the kind of place where you literally can't even breathe the wrong way without getting hit with a 1,000-rupee fine. The teachers demand absolute pin-drop silence, constantly hitting them with the classic "is this a fish market" line, and just basically enforcing these rigid, suffocating rules over every single second of the day.
So that brings us to Section 1, Strict School, New Beginnings.
Right off the bat, we've got a stark contrast between our main characters. The whole ecosystem of this school relies on strict hierarchies, right? And into this mix walks a total wild card. On one side, you have Gargi. She's the new girl, super cynical, and she's made it crystal clear that she's out of there in exactly 6 months to attend her dream school, Rockford High. Her ultimate goal? Make absolutely zero friends. Then on the flip side, we have Nikita and Zoya. They've been inseparable since the second standard. It's this messy, deeply entangled friendship between Nikita, who's known around school as a bit of a rebel or a Gundi, and Zoya, who is your classic, driven academic topper.
And man, these girls have to navigate this restrictive environment every single day. We are talking about absurd uniform inspections where, yes, bloomers are mandatory. They're forced to drop their own cash into this charity mite box just to keep the administration off their backs, all while living under the constant hovering threat of suspension for the most minor offenses. But here's the thing. It's exactly this oppressive atmosphere that ends up pushing these total opposites to band together against a common enemy.
Moving right along to Section 2, Friendship and First Trouble.
Look, in an environment this toxic, you either sink alone or you swim together. And this specific number, 3,150 rupees, becomes a massive turning point. That is the exact amount that is supposed to be sitting in the charity mite box. The school bully, Kiara, actually tries to get Nikita expelled by falsely accusing her of stealing 1,000 rupees from it. But then Gargi, the cynical newcomer who supposedly doesn't care about anyone, actually steps up. She uses basic math to prove Kiara's calculations are totally bogus, completely clearing Nikita's name and saving her from being kicked out.
And what happens next brilliantly illustrates those relatable teenage milestones they end up sharing. Nikita gets her first period right in the middle of a super stressful class, complete with a severe fever, and the girls immediately spring into action. They literally have this underground period survival kit ready to deploy. Hot water bags, pain patches, chocolates, and, hilariously, pictures of cute boys just to distract from the cramps. We've all been there, right?
The way the girls rally around Nikita in the sick room is just incredibly sweet. They reassure her, telling her that everyone's body is different and there's absolutely no wrong timeline for growing up. It's a huge moment because it proves their bond is getting so much stronger through these shared adolescent struggles. You can actually see Gargi's protective walls starting to crack.
All right, let's get into Section 3, the science project drama.
So the crucial point where the tension goes through the roof is this high-stakes science project. Academic pressure at this school is no joke, and it's about to put their newly formed sisterhood to the ultimate test. It's basically a grueling countdown. Day 1, Zoya, being the total perfectionist she is, creates this microscopic, strictly timed schedule for their solar panel project. But by day 2, Nikita decides she's having a full-blown identity crisis. She's sick of being labeled a thug and suddenly wants to become a carefree freestyle rapper, completely ditching her portion of the work. And day 3, total disaster. Kiara sneaks in and totally sabotages them by stealing their model.
It is a classic clash of priorities. Zoya's obsessive need for academic perfection just horribly collides with Nikita's identity crisis. See, Zoya views this project as her lifeline to keeping her top-tier status. But Nikita is fighting her own battles. She feels entirely useless, she's constantly belittled as just a Gundi, and she's desperately trying to reinvent herself, even if the timing is frankly terrible. This misalignment creates a massive, massive fracture in a friendship they've had for 7 years.
Which leads us to Section 4, Misunderstanding and Rift.
The pressure cooker finally explodes once they realize their project is ruined. Under the immense weight of failing, Zoya just unleashes years of pent-up frustration onto Nikita. It is a devastating, super public argument. Zoya literally calls her a brain-sucking parasite, accusing Nikita of relying entirely on her just to pass their classes. It's such a harsh, deeply personal attack, and it completely breaks Nikita's heart.
37. For 37 agonizing days, these two best friends refused to say a single word to each other. Now, I know 37 days might not sound like a huge deal in the grand scheme of adulthood, but in the hyper-focused, incredibly intense ecosystem of high school, a month of silence from your best friend feels like an absolute lifetime. The entire group dynamic is just shattered.
So how do they fix it? Let's jump into Section 5, Firecrackers and Exposé.
Feeling totally abandoned and just reckless, Nikita decides to take matters into her own hands on the last day of exams with this massive revenge prank. And this builds into a literal heist sequence. Nikita's plan is to set off firecrackers to cause maximum chaos. But Kiara, who is always lurking around, overhears this and instantly snitches to Sister Dione to get Nikita expelled once and for all. But Zoya, realizing her best friend is about to destroy her own life, steps in at the 11th hour. She secretly manages to swap the firecrackers in Nikita's bag for a completely harmless birthday cake.
So picture this. Sister Diane aggressively rips open Nikita's bag in front of the whole school, fully expecting explosives, and all she finds is a cake. But the brilliant twist of fate here is that the actual firecrackers somehow ended up in Kiara's bag. The bully gets caught red-handed, entirely exposed by her own trap. It clears Nikita's name instantly and saves her from expulsion. Absolute karma, right?
And finally, Section 6, True Sisters.
With the disaster totally averted and exams finally behind them, all those tough, cynical masks just drop. Gargi is packing up, all set to leave for her dream school, Rockford High. But then she watches a secret farewell video her friends put together for her. Zoya calls her a brilliant winner. Nikita gets super emotional and compares Gargi to a bomb, tightly wound on the outside, but full of fire and loyalty on the inside. Seeing just how much she truly means to them, Gargi realizes her cynical armor has been completely melted by this chaotic, beautiful sisterhood.
So, in this tearful, panicked phone call to her dad at the very last second, Gargi makes the ultimate sacrifice. She tells him to cancel it. She doesn't want to go to the elite dream school anymore. Despite the crazy teachers, the strict rules, and the ridiculous